yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with a cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring to their knees. Thanks for their disease. Just like a weed. It's not Saturday, but that still doesn't change the fact that we are live. And, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the greatest show on earth. We are streaming live on 3 different platforms across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different accounts. It is a very special edition Thursday stream. We are getting down to the nitty-gritty, down and dirty like we always do here on the LFU. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn X, formerly known as Twitter, handle, Hold on, we need to stop. Stop what you're doing, stop in your tracks, and just take a big inhale and go, oh. Hold on. You need to do it again. Do it again, and this time just really, really feel it. When you inhale that breath of fresh air and you go, oh, one last time if we can do it. Do you smell that? You know what that is? That right there is the smell of pure, unadulterated excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. This is the official Lightning Flash update for Thursday, November 30th, 2023. Thank you all for joining on in. I see James Punaseca's in. Thank you very much. I hope my mic is doing very, very well. And based on the fact that you said there was a damn fine intro, I can imagine that my mic is working perfectly fine. I just need to take a sip of water right there. I know many of you are kind of shocked that I'm not live on a Saturday. That is because I will actually be taking a trip to Stockholm, New Jersey to visit the Wrestling Collector. Apparently, it is a wrestling fan's dream. All classic stuff from the 80s, some modern day stuff as well. Classic wrestling video games and action figures, championship belts, and trading cards. It is owned by one Mr. Tommy Fierro. So I figured I'd stop by. Tommy's actually going to be in Paterson, New Jersey. That's going to be tomorrow. He's going to be hosting an ISPW event, and I wish him luck. Unfortunately, I will not be there. I have personal obligations to attend to. But regardless, I am very, very happy as to where he is at right now, and I'm very, very, very much looking forward to checking out the Wrestling Collector. I have an announcement. Before we get into the festivities here And unfortunately, it may seem like bad news, but unfortunately, tonight will be the last Lightning Flash update and the last stream in general as a member of PWP Nation. Me and Jay Leto, we talk things over, and the partnership has come to an end. And I know a lot of people are going to be asking a lot of questions. They're going to be looking for some answers. I did write a lot of things down. I wrote a lot of things down, and I figured that I'd address it here, and I talk to everyone as to what actually happened. At this moment, we both have outside commitments. We cannot commit to this partnership as we speak. And before anyone asks any questions, there was no falling out. There was no argument. There are no personal issues between myself and Jay Leto. We have known each other for almost 5 years now, and never once have we had a personal problem. I would actually like to professionally and personally thank him for every last one of the opportunities that he gave to me over the course of the last 4 months, whether it be World of Wrestling or simply making posts on Facebook on the page. He has undoubtedly been one of my biggest supporters, one of my biggest believers, and on top of everything, one of my best friends within the entire wrestling community. Now, this does not mean that we will never work together again. It does not mean that we will never collaborate again. When the time is right and everything is settled down, trust me on this. Trust me, we will be back and better than ever. This is not a goodbye. This is just a see you later. 2023 undoubtedly was the best year for the DJ Storms brand thus far, and a big part of that was and is and always will be because of Jay. Jay was the reason why 2023 was the brand's best year, and Jay will be the reason as to why I am more motivated than ever to make 2024 an even better year than 2023, a year that will blow this year completely out of the water. I would like to thank each and every single one of you for the constant support, and I will be back with the rundown for NXT Deadline next Tuesday with Cherry, part of the Queens of the Ring show on Hardcore Sports. Cherry, for the very first time, she's going to be coming on my channel for a little duo collaboration with yours truly, and we will be dissecting NXT Deadline. NXT Deadline, of course, is next Saturday on the Peacock, that is. Get your mind out of the gutter. It is next week live on Peacock from Bridgeport, Connecticut, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. No stream over the weekend, but trust me, we are going to be having a fantastic December month, whether it be with the rundown and the rewind for Deadline, the rundown and the rewind for Final Battle, the rundown and the rewind for Worlds End. But as of tonight, when this stream ends, I will no longer be a member of PWP Nation. Once again, thank you to Jay. Thank you to every single member of the PWP Nation fan base that took time out of their day to talk to me and collaborate with me and talk about pro wrestling. You responded to my posts, whether it be positively or negatively. Thank you all, and trust me when I tell you, this is just a launching pad. Remember, who runs the IWC, people? You already know the drill. You can answer that question at the end. You can answer that question at the end of the stream. Before we get into the festivities and the self-brand topics right here, we got plenty of topics, including CM Punk and the plans for CM Punk moving forward, who he's going to feud with, and a potential big money match looking forward towards SummerSlam. We're also talking about Bruce Pritchard and the fact that he was running Monday Night Raw on Monday and not Triple H. We're also going to talk about AEW filing a copyright claim and a trademark for an indie wrestling tag team name, and the tag team could be making its debut on AEW television sooner rather than later. QT Marshall has officially resigned from AEW, and MJF, he has revealed through an MRI that he has a torn labrum. How serious this injury really is, we do not know. We do not know, but depending on how serious this injury is, we will talk about what the best course of action is going forth into Worlds End. Please make sure if you haven't already done so, check me out on social media, whether it be on X or Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. Once again, at HistoryMakerDJS, both on X and Instagram. You can also like my personal Facebook page. And for any collaboration and business inquiry requests, please go and send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. You can also like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. All those links are in the description, as well as the links to my sponsorships. Brittany K is one of them. Wonderful woman. Big supporter of the channel and the brand. Good friend of mine. She does beautifully crafted designs and drawings from scratch on her iPad of all different types of professional wrestlers from all different types of companies. And she even does Twitter Abbeys and banners, custom made just for you the way that you want it. So if you guys are looking for a new Twitter Abby or banner, or if you want a beautifully crafted design of a professional wrestler, please go and hit her up. Her X account is BrittanyK5150, while her Instagram account is Brittany K Designs. Shout out to PWP Nation, of course, created by Jay Leto. Go and check them out on Facebook. We're live on the Facebook page right now. Go and give it a follow, give it a like. Jay Leto is going to be doing his own thing going forward. Jay Leto has built this brand for the last decade plus, and it has certainly paid dividends in 2023, and especially with the partnership with the DJ Storms brand, he has certainly paid dividends to me as well. So please go and show PWP Nation some support. And then finally, corporate information system. You already know the drill. They help fulfill your hiring needs. If you guys are looking for a trusted recruiting firm to help fulfill those needs or help advance your career, go contact my friends over at Corporate Information Systems. You can check out their website, www.cisrecruiters.com. Once again, www.cisrecruiters.com. Like the stream no matter where you're watching it from, whether it be on X, YouTube, or Facebook. You can also hit the subscribe button, whether it be on the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel or my YouTube channel. We're looking to be the #1 brand in all of sports analytics, that being Hardcore Sports. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We are also on the road to 2,300 subscribers for your boy, yours truly, DJ Shizzle Dizzle. So please go with the subscribe button, whether it be for the Hardcore Sports channel or my channel, and hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. You know why? Because it is the only time that you are going to get to see this oh so glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful, beautiful mustache right here. You know what time it is. We're going to break it out. Hold on. It's a little bit. Hold on. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Take a look at that. This beautifully crafted magical ace black comb. Hold on a minute. Oh my God, I got to blow on it. It is hot. It is sizzling. We're going to light it up right here on the LFU for the last time on PWP Nation with a little bit of and a dash of and a whole lot of Because like Totino's pizza rolls with a side of fries and garlic bread, I am just so good. I am tasty. I am succulent. I am undoubtedly the most scrumptious snack in the IWC, and everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion, the advertisements. Why don't we get straight into the festivities here on the Lightning Flash update? Let's talk about CM Punk. CM Punk completely shocked the world when he returned last Saturday at Survivor Series to the WWE for the first time in nearly a decade. And according to Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns is a feud that is being planned after Punk versus Rollins has concluded. Now, I think everyone was pretty much expecting this. This is a no-brainer. This is a complete no-brainer. Everyone and their mother would have predicted that CM Punk would have been feuding with Roman Reigns. Why? Because CM Punk's a big draw. I guess you can call him a draw since he's in WWE, but at the end of the day, no one's a legit draw. Does he garner attention? Yes, so does Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns isn't a draw either. Nobody's a draw in 2023. But there's going to be people that are dumb enough to call all these different individuals who are in WWE a draw just because they're in WWE. But regardless, CM Punk's a big star. Roman Reigns is a big star. It just makes sense. It just makes sense for them to feud. Now, how do we get there? How do we get there? I don't know. Now, realistically speaking, the plan, and I think everyone has also predicted this too, the plan realistically is going to be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in the main event of night one of WrestleMania. CM Punk is probably the safest bet to win the men's 2024 Royal Rumble match. I was picking Gunther originally, and to be quite honest with you, I'm a little disappointed that Gunther is not going to get the WrestleMania main event, at least not yet. At least not yet. But regardless, Gunther still has a big-time matchup with Chad Gable at WrestleMania, and that would be a brilliant, and I mean a brilliant match to do, and a big moment for Chad Gable in the end of it all. CM Punk and Seth Rollins, more likely than not, will be your night one main event of WrestleMania 40. The question is, how exactly is that one going to go? Some people are saying that Seth Rollins should retain. Some people are saying that Seth Rollins is going to retain. Some people are saying that Roman Reigns and CM Punk is going to be without a championship. Now, realistically speaking, that is a doable situation. That makes sense because you don't need a championship in a big-time match with those two. That match sells itself. You don't need the World Championship. You don't need the Universal Championship. You don't need the Intercontinental Championship. You don't need the United States Championship. You don't need any championship. Just put those two in a match, put those two in a program, and sell it yourself. You don't need it. You don't think that there's going to be a lot of pipe bombs to be dropped between Roman and CM Punk from both ends of the spectrum? You don't think that Roman Reigns is going to have some zingers for Punk? You don't think that Punk is going to give it right back to Roman Reigns? Of course he is. But here's the thing that I'm trying to decipher. I'm trying to decipher how exactly is Punk going to lose to Rollins? Because listen, Rollins is great. Rollins is fantastic. Rollins is easily one of the best acts in the entire WWE. He's one of the best acts in the entire industry. He's in the midst of his best world title reign of his career thus far. But it's very, very, very difficult for me to see CM Punk losing at WrestleMania in the main event to Seth Rollins. If they're putting CM Punk in there with Seth Rollins, it almost feels like a foregone conclusion that CM Punk is going to win the World Heavyweight Championship. If anything, Roman Reigns and CM Punk would be a big-time match that you could save for next year's WrestleMania, 2025 WrestleMania, WrestleMania 41. That would be a big-time money match that can sell tickets for WrestleMania 41, wherever that may be. It doesn't need to be now. It doesn't need to be at Bash in Berlin. It doesn't need to be at SummerSlam. It doesn't need to be at one of these Saudi shows. It doesn't need to be at a Survivor Series. You don't need to build towards Punk and Roman Reigns for next year. Save it. That is a WrestleMania level match. Punk has plenty of people that he can feud with on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, whichever show you want to put him on. He's got plenty of individuals to feud with on both shows before he inevitably gets to Reigns. Reigns, as we speak, he's all but confirmed to lose the championship to Cody. He has to. He has to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Cody should have won this year at WrestleMania. Cody should have won this year at WrestleMania, but my God, if Cody doesn't win next year, I mean, I don't want to say buried, but I mean, my God, what other word is there? If Cody Rhodes loses a second time to Roman Reigns, I mean, you may as well not even show face ever again. Finish the story, my ass. It's just very, very hard for me to see CM Punk losing in the main event of WrestleMania. If anything, I actually see Punk winning. And if Punk doesn't win, the only way that I can honestly see CM Punk losing at WrestleMania is if Damian Priest cashes in his Money in the Bank contract, makes it a triple threat match, kind of like what Seth Rollins did at WrestleMania 31, and Priest pins Rollins to become the World Heavyweight Champion, and CM Punk is protected. That's the only way that I can see CM Punk not walking out of WrestleMania with the World Heavyweight Championship. And from there, I mean, it depends where they want to go. I hope that Damian Priest doesn't fail at his cash-in, but there are so many outside factors outside of the Money in the Bank briefcase that is really making it difficult for Damian Priest to find a place as World Heavyweight Champion in this version of WWE. So many top stars, so many moving parts, so many different directions that they could go in. At this rate, it may very well be a wait-and-see type of deal. But I would not build towards Punk and Roman next year at all. I'd wait till 2025. I'd wait till WrestleMania 41, wherever that may be. Monday Night Raw. We'll go over Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was really lackluster. It had some good things on it, but Monday Night Raw, it did not hit the way that I was expecting it to hit. Kind of a bland show. And Nashville, I mean, oh my God, Nashville was not very hyped up at all. Outside of Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk, Nashville was quiet. And then people want to come on here and say, well, WWE's selling out arenas, then AEW's hardcam side is completely empty. That's what these morons on social media come out here and say. I'm not sure if you have cleaned your ears out recently, but 5,000 people on Wednesday made more noise than 10,000 people did on Monday. From a 3-hour show, 2-hour show, a 2-hour show with 5,000 people made more noise than a 3-hour show with 10,000 people. That right there, if you're asking me, that is pathetic. I would rather have a half-empty arena that's loud all night versus a full arena that's dead quiet outside of maybe 20 to 25 minutes throughout the entire show. Attendance means nothing. Ticket sales mean nothing. But according to PW Insider, this week's Raw was run by Bruce Pritchard and not Triple H. Triple H was pulled away on other WWE business, and the absence was expected. And I'm assuming that had to do with the media rights deal for Monday Night Raw. There are reports going around that Monday Night Raw could be announcing where they will be headed in terms of a cable network deal, where they will be headed in 2024. They plan on announcing that in January, I believe. Some of the people and some of the networks that are bidding for Monday Night Raw, it's actually quite interesting, to say the least. Amazon is one of them. I heard that Time Warner is one of them. I can't see them ending up on Warner Media, but man, that would be something. Warner Media would pick up both AEW and WWE, depending on what they want to do. If they want to keep AEW and then not go for WWE, or if they want to keep WWE and not go for AEW, either way, 2024 is going to be a very interesting year. So if you guys are wondering why Monday Night Raw was on the suckish side this week, now you know. Bryan Danielson. For the very first time ever, I can't even believe that I saw people legitimately ripping apart Bryan Danielson for no reason, because apparently Bryan Danielson headed the AEW disciplinary committee that ultimately decided to terminate CM Punk from AEW. This is according to Fightful. And people are legit mad about this. Listen, could things have worked out differently? Yes. Things could have absolutely worked out differently. But when push comes to shove, and when the dust settles, everything is cleared off, and you look at things for what they are, CM Punk was fired from AEW because of CM Punk. Now, it wasn't entirely on him. Tony Khan did not handle things properly. Tony Khan does not know how to manage the egos of the AEW locker room, and he needs to get that down ASAP. Now, I will say, things have been a lot more calm and things have been a lot more smooth ever since CM Punk left. But at the end of the day, Tony Khan, he needs to learn how to handle rough scenarios like that. Tony Khan does not know how to manage egos. And then the Bucks and Jack Perry, their antics were absolutely pathetic. Pathetic and juvenile, to say the least. But CM Punk, in the end, CM Punk only controls how he acts. And Bryan Danielson offered the advice to Tony Khan, and Tony Khan ultimately accepted it. And Tony Khan, he made the best decision for the company. It may seem bad, quote unquote, to some people, because they're idiots. It may seem bad now, but in the long term, it would be good for the company. In the long term, it will be much better, because in the long term, you would much rather have a happy locker room rather than an unhappy locker room with someone, even though he sells tickets, even though he gets people talking, even though he spikes up the ratings slightly, it's not worth the headache. And apparently CM Punk, he was a lot happier when he showed up backstage at Monday Night Raw. So in the end, it kind of worked out for all parties the best way possible. It kind of worked out well for all parties. I do wish things were different. But in the end, Bryan Danielson, he could sense something bad when it's staring him right in the face. And when it comes down to it, I think that Bryan Danielson is ultimately going to take over control of All Elite Wrestling when Tony Khan cannot do it anymore. Bryan Danielson may be retiring as a full-time wrestler. He may retire as a wrestler altogether. But Bryan Danielson is still going to be involved in the business. Bryan Danielson knows the business. And when Tony Khan can't do it anymore, I'm telling you, Tony Khan is grooming Bryan Danielson to take that spot, whenever that may be. And what do you think is going to happen? Bryan Danielson's going to teach his children that. And maybe his children could very well become the CEO of All Elite Wrestling, whoever that may be. Maybe it's Birdie. Sticking with AEW recently filed a trademark for the term East-West Express. This is the tag team name for Nick Wayne and Jordan Oliver on the indie scene. Now, if you guys remember Jordan Oliver was once employed by NXT, and I do believe Jordan Oliver and Adrian Neville, aka Pac, they were once the NXT Tag Team Champions. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were the first ever NXT Tag Team Champions. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe that they were the first ever NXT Tag Team Champions. I'm guessing that Nick Wayne and Jordan Oliver, they will be in a tag team going forward. That would probably be the best place for Nick Wayne. And I'm guessing this is probably happening because Edge, aka Adam Copeland, all of his prophecies, all of his predictions with Christian Cage, and the fact that Luchasaurus, aka Killswitch, and Nick Wayne are going to leave him, maybe that's coming true. Maybe that could be coming true. Or maybe Christian Cage is adding a new member to the patriarchy. Either way, I think that would be great. I would love to see a resurgence in the tag team division. We've already been seeing some sort of a tag team renaissance. We've gotten some great tag team matches over the course of the last few months. Tag team division is alive and well, especially after that match at Full Gear with LFI, the House of Black, Ricky Starks, and Big Bill and FTR. That was a fantastic ladder match. So we'll see what happens there. QT Marshall. He is leaving AEW. QT Marshall announced on his X account that he will be leaving AEW once 2023 is over. He posted a very heartfelt and professional message stating how he was very appreciative for his time and he'll be going all in on himself. I hit my mic there. I apologize. He'll be going all in on himself going forward. Now, apparently, the reason why Marshall has not re-signed a new deal with AEW, apparently, according to people in AEW, when Punk was there, he did not want QT Marshall on Collision because he didn't see QT as a productive part of Powerhouse Hobbs' presentation. This apparently diminished and damaged Tony Khan end his relationship with QT Marshall. So they were kind of at odds because the QTV segments were being nixed off of Collision because Punk felt that it did not fit the presentation of Powerhouse Hobbs. QT was also not a fan of some of the shifts within AEW Creative. It shifted away from the great stories that once was prominent in AEW, but he felt that the company wasn't telling as good of stories as they could be. In a way, he stated, or he felt, in his view, putting on a bunch of high-end, work-rate matches with no story or build is being like New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, I will give QT Marshall this. I actually do think he's a very genuine individual. I do think that his intentions are good, and I don't have a personal issue with him whatsoever. And I actually do respect his stance. I do respect his stance, and he is right about one thing. He is right about one thing. The stories that AEW are telling right now, they are not as rich as they once were. So he is right about that. I'm not going to say he's wrong. He's absolutely right as it pertains to that specific topic. But if he's talking about all of these shifts in creative, it seems as though QT Marshall really is forgetting what AEW was founded on. AEW was not founded on story. AEW was not founded on the concept of, oh my God, I cannot wait to see all of this soap opera cinema. Was anyone saying that when AEW was first announced? No. No one. Absolutely no one was talking about soap opera cinema when AEW first came around. And if you're saying that you are, you're lying to yourself. The whole purpose of AEW, the whole basis of what AEW was founded upon was pro wrestling. It's the professional wrestling company. That is their identity. That's always been their identity. Whether you want to admit it or not, it doesn't matter whether you're a fan of WWE, whether you're a fan of Impact, whether you're a fan of New Japan, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, AEW has the best objective wrestling matches throughout the entire week. There is absolutely no company that is putting on the high-end quality matches that AEW is putting on. Not to say that we get bad matches on NXT. Not to say that we get bad matches on SmackDown or bad matches in New Japan or bad matches on Raw on a weekly basis. Not to say that we get bad wrestling matches, because I'd be lying if I told you that. But when you look at every single one of the wrestling shows throughout the week, the best matches, 99 times out of 100, they fall on AEW. That's a fact. Doesn't matter whether you like AEW, whether you hate AEW. AEW has the best professional wrestling bell-to-bell matches, period. That has always been their identity. If anything, QT Marshall, it almost sounds like sour grapes. It almost sounds like sour grapes. I really don't want to put words in his mouth, but it almost feels like he's not getting what he wants, and he's not too happy about it. Punk did not want the QTV segments associated with Powerhouse Hobbs on Collision. Listen, QT Marshall may be a great guy for all we know, but at the end of the day, Punk was right. Punk was right about QTV. The QTV segments added nothing of value to AEW television. The QTV segments actually made AEW TV worse. It didn't fit Powerhouse Hobbs whatsoever. Matter of fact, Powerhouse Hobbs and his TNT title reign was tainted because of him being associated with QT Marshall. It did nothing for Hobbs. It did absolutely nothing for him. So why exactly is QTV getting upset? Listen, you can have pride in yourself all you want, but when something sucks, something sucks. And if QT is not going to acknowledge the fact that the QTV segments sucked and they offered nothing of value, then you know what? That is his problem. And on top of that, he's trying to claim that New Japan doesn't have any story. And they're all, everyone's just putting on a bunch of high-profile matches with no story. It seems as though QT Marshall is a little bit more diluted than we thought. No story in New Japan. I can name you 3 major stories right off the bat with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I don't even watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. The rise of Tetsuya Naito in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He became a double champion. That was a long-term story that they told for God knows how many years. What about Kenny Omega's quest to finally vanquish Kazuchika Okada? And he did it. You're telling me that had no story behind it? What about Bullet Club? Bullet Club is legitimately the longest reigning story that New Japan Pro Wrestling has in their history. How long has it been going? A decade now? Who's going to join? Who's not going to join? Who's the leader? Who's not the leader? Bullet Club is legitimately all story. It's not just a bunch of random guys that put on 5-star matches. Bullet Club is a story. The faction in itself is a story. So I'm not sure where QT Marshall is getting the idea of, oh, New Japan's got no story. I respect his stance. I really do. I respect him having pride in himself, and I respect him sticking to his guns and standing by what he says. I do. But in the end, it seems as though QT Marshall really has forgotten the identity of AEW. The company is not all about soap opera cinema. If you want to go watch soap opera cinema, you can go watch WWE. And even then, the stories that WWE have been telling, a majority of them over the course of the last 4 to 5 months, a majority of the stories that WWE has been telling have been garbage. The majority of the stories that WWE are telling have been lackluster. Part of that is on WWE. Part of that is on the fact that Triple H is working with a roster that was booked into oblivion by Vince McMahon. But regardless, WWE TV, you take a look at it compared to AEW TV. AEW TV has a lot more energy. And the reason why they have a lot more energy is because they focus on professional wrestling. It's 2023. Pro wrestling first, people. Pro wrestling first. CM Punk. Let's talk about CM Punk one more time. According to Hoss of Wrestling, CM Punk is apparently looking to move past the drama of AEW entirely. He has no plans to address anything about what happened over in AEW. And you know what? To be quite honest with you, I respect him. I respect him for that, and that's how he should be. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we talk about his promo. WWE this week was hit with another lawsuit. On Monday night, it was revealed that various WWE executives, such as Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, Michelle Wilson, and others, were hit with another lawsuit. The legal actions stem from WWE's recent quick sale to Endeavor, with the plaintiffs asserting the transaction was a sham sales process crafted to maintain Vince McMahon's grip on power. The lawsuit was filed in Delaware and contains that superior cash offers existed, but options for any of these would have jeopardized Vince McMahon's position. I mean, come on, an idiot could figure this out. I mean, come on. So an autistic donkey could figure this out. Of course, the sale to Endeavor was a sham sales process to get Vince McMahon back in power and maintain his power. Of course. That's the whole reason why Vince McMahon manipulated himself into the company, and then it blew up in his face with Ari Emanuel pushing Vince away, and Triple H was knighted as the head of creative. Listen, I understand where this lawsuit is coming from, but ultimately, what do they have to gain from this? What exactly do they have to gain from this? Vince McMahon's already out. He's gone. Unless he comes back, unless there's a scenario where Vince McMahon is able to manipulate his way back into power within the WWE, who cares? Who cares about this lawsuit? The lawsuit, at this rate, what's going to happen? Vince McMahon is already out. And more likely than not, he could very well pass away before the cops even get to him. I really don't understand what the point of this lawsuit is. Vince McMahon is already gone. Triple H is in control of creative. Ultimately, I don't care about this lawsuit. At this rate, anything that happens following Endeavor knighting Triple H, it's ultimately irrelevant. It's ultimately irrelevant, and I don't care. I don't really care because as long as Vince McMahon is not operating the creative aspect of the company, I couldn't give a shit what he does. Doesn't matter what he does. As long as he is not running Raw and as long as he is not running SmackDown, as long as Triple H is in charge of Raw and SmackDown and Triple H has the pen and paper, he is writing the show, he is doing what he wants, he is booking the matches, as long as Vince does not touch creative, I couldn't care what happens. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree with me on that. And my final report before I move on. Maxwell Jacob Friedman. MJF. He recently made a post on X and then quickly deleted it. He stated in the post that he recently got an MRI and it was revealed that he has a torn labrum. However, he will still be working the AEW Worlds End pay-per-view on December 30th. Now, it was not specified. It really wasn't specified as to what actually happened that caused the torn labrum. I was texting Crowbar. Shout out to Crowbar, one of the greatest of all time. He's a legend. I was texting Crowbar, who, by the way, in his off time, he's a physical therapist. Guy's a borderline genius. And we were talking about how this happened. He was texting me early in the morning before I went into work. He's like, did MJF get injured? And in my mind, I was thinking, yeah, he got a minor hip injury, but it's not that serious, and he'll be good to go in a few weeks, and he'll be working the pay-per-view. He'll be just fine. Apparently, then I found out he made a tweet and then deleted it stating that he tore his labrum. It was not specified how severe the tear is. It was not specified whether it was a complete tear or whether it was a partial tear. Crowbar and I, we discussed how it happened, and apparently he believes it was from the elbow drop that MJF delivered to Jay White back at Full Gear. Obviously, we know the announce table collapsed. MJF needed to think on the fly. He needed to think on the fly, so he did the flying elbow drop off the top rope to Jay White. But I watched it back. He's saying that it's his left shoulder. He's saying that it's his left shoulder that's screwed up. And if I'm, please correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm not mistaken, he delivered the elbow drop with his right arm. So if it wasn't from the elbow drop, which I don't think it was, what exactly was it from? Did he tear it potentially while working out? Did he potentially pull a Cody Rhodes? I'm not saying that he tore his pec completely off the bone, but I don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. We don't know the severity. Now, depending on the severity, there's one of two options that they can go with. It's going to be a tough call, though. It's going to be a really tough call. MJF apparently tore his labrum. Depending on the severity, there is one of two options that they can go forth with. Number one, the devil is revealed to be Adam Cole, because I do believe that it's going to be a work. Adam Cole costs MJF the World Championship at World's End in his hometown. Joe wins the World Championship. MJF gets the surgery that he needs to get, and then he comes back, and we get a major feud in 2024. Or if MJF can still work with the torn labrum, if it's just a partial tear, I would have MJF retain. You can take MJF as world champion going into Revolution, and I would put him against Swerve Strickland, and I would have Swerve Strickland defeat MJF at Revolution, ultimately with Adam Cole still being the one to cost him. So Adam Cole's still going to cost him. It's just going to depend on how much longer MJF can hold on with the torn labrum and how much longer can he work. Those are the best options. It all depends on how serious the injury is and if he can tolerate the pain. If he's working the match with Joe, apparently he can tolerate the pain for the match with Joe. That's going to be a little bit rough considering that you already know that Samoa Joe is a heavy hitter. He's a heavy hitter, so it is certainly going to be no easy task for Mr. Friedman. But Crowbar and I, we did discuss that MJF, if he takes it easy over the course of the next couple weeks, and he takes it easy going into 2024, he can get over the torn labrum if it is indeed a partial tear. And I know that because, like I said, Crowbar is a physical therapist in his off time. He's a borderline genius. He knows what he's talking about. Crowbar knows what he's talking about. In this case, I kind of do hope that it is a partial tear. But with it being a partial tear, and if you're not going to have MJF lose the title at World's End, that's actually going to present a little bit of a different scenario, and it could very well present a bit of a negative scenario because if you think about it, World's End feels like the best possible time for MJF to lose the championship. World's End, if Adam Cole's injury is a work, which I do believe it is, and MJF needs to go and get surgery, MJF being screwed over by Adam Cole, with Adam Cole becoming the best heel in the industry, the biggest heel in the industry, screwing MJF over in Long Island, Joe wins the championship, that right there would feel more impactful than if it were to happen at Revolution. That's only because of the fact that, listen, if you screw over MJF in Long Island, I mean, MJF in Long Island, Piper in Portland, Punk in Chicago, same ordeal, same energy. I don't know. It all depends on where they want to go, and it all depends on how much longer MJF can perform. We'll see what happens. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone who is tuning in. Thank you very much to James Ponaseka. Thank you very much to Maria. Thank you very much, all of you. You guys have been great thus far, and we are approaching 50 minutes of a live stream so far. We're going to go over Raw and Dynamite. Once again, if you guys missed it, tonight is my final stream as a member of PWP Nation. There was no falling out. Me and Jay, we cannot commit to the partnership right now, so we have decided to part ways. We are still friends. He is one of my best friends, one of my biggest supporters and biggest believers, like I stated in the beginning of the stream. This is not a permanent goodbye. This is just a see you later. We will be back and better than ever in the future. He's got some stuff he needs to work on. I got some stuff that I need to work on. And trust me when I tell you, when we do collaborate again, it is going to be just as big as CM Punk returning to WWE. Believe me. Believe me. Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw. Lackluster. Lackluster, to say the least. Thank you very much to Dee, who just joined in. Please make sure that you share the stream out on all platforms of social media. We're going to boost those watch hours up. So if you guys are not watching on YouTube, go and check me out on YouTube. And Maria, listen, if you want to check me out on my personal DJ Storms business page, I'm live on there right now. So you can still watch me. Don't worry. I know that you're a big fan, and trust me, you are going to have plenty more DJ Storms experience opportunities in the future. Monday Night Raw was a very lackluster show. And the crowd, not all that exciting. The crowd was actually putting me to sleep at certain points in the show. Randy Orton kicked off the show. He was just soaking it all in. He was all smiles. Orton said, "Sounds like a few of you missed me." He goes, "I'm back for as long as I can be. And welcome to Monday Night Raw," he said. Crowd was chanting, "Welcome back." Randy Orton said, "The time off gave me time to think about my accolades, but I have never done one thing in particular. I never competed at War Games. Cody Rhodes picked up the phone and I answered the call, and I knew that I was going to be in because Cody's father created War Games, and that was a chance to be a part of professional wrestling history." Notice he said professional wrestling. It's a good thing that Vince isn't there anymore. But I also have some unfinished business to attend to with the Bloodline. So I'm assuming that Randy Orton and Roman Reigns is going to be your Royal Rumble match. Randy Orton said that I can forget, or I can forgive, but I can't forget. I got receipts coming for the Bloodline, including every single member, and those receipts will be coming in the form of the 3 most destructive letters in sports entertainment, RKO. Crowd was chanting RKO, RKO. All of a sudden, out came Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley welcomed Randy back. She mentioned how Randy Orton was teaming with Jey Uso, a man that put him on the shelf for a year and a half. Rhea also said, "You don't seem to realize that the landscape has changed. The Bloodline have fallen and the Judgment Day has risen. War Games was just a minor bump in the road. We've all been dripping in gold. And if it wasn't for you, Damian Priest would be your World Heavyweight Champion. You've made enemies that you are going to have to live with. You've made enemies that can make your life a living hell. We will put you out permanently." Crowd was chanting RKO, RKO. It's going to happen, trust me. Orton then said he's always heard about how it's always mommy this and mommy that. Well, guess what, Rhea? Daddy's back, said Orton. Orton was soaking it all in as the crowd was chanting, "Who's your daddy?" Orton then said, "One thing never changes is that no one tells Randy Orton what to do." Rhea said Randy Orton made his bed. "You have made us your enemy now." We had Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough attack Randy Orton. Randy Orton with an RKO to JD McDonough. Orton then took the mic and he goes, "Don't go too far, Dom. I'm going to find Adam Pearce and I'm going to make sure I get you in this ring tonight." Pretty simple, straightforward, to the point. Pretty predictable, though, to have Randy Orton feud with the Judgment Day. I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. But listen, it's just an interim thing. Everything is ultimately going to result in Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. And that is going to be the last roadblock for Roman Reigns before he inevitably drops the title to Cody, I hope to God, at WrestleMania 40. Tag Team Turmoil. This was Alpha Academy, DIY, Indus Sher, the Creed Brothers, and Imperium. And it was all about number 1 contendership to the tag team titles. And the New Day was also in this as well. I don't want to say that this was a bad match, but this just really left a sour taste in my mouth for one reason and one reason only. And it's the fact that DIY, week in and week out, constantly, DIY are getting the short end of the stick. I'm not saying that DIY needed to win this. They shouldn't have won this. Why? Because DIY should be saved for the Judgment Day next year. That is your WrestleMania match. Should be DIY versus the Judgment Day, with DIY coming out victorious. So I wasn't expecting DIY to win this, but why exactly is DIY being eliminated within 7 minutes? Why exactly are you rushing through this tag team turmoil? Give it more time. Give it more time. If the Creed brothers were ultimately going to win it in the end, fine. I have no problem with that if the Creed brothers were ultimately going to win it in the end. I have zero issue with that. But if you're going to have the Creed brothers win it in the end, in the end of it all, DIY should have been there from beginning to end. DIY should have gone bell to bell. DIY should have gone bell to bell, with DIY outlasting all teams up until we get to the Creed brothers. And ultimately, they fall short to the Creed brothers. Because if you did that, DIY would have actually developed some credibility. DIY is not going to gain credibility by playing Ring Around the Rosie with Imperium for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. If DIY was going to gain credibility, they were going to have a great showing in this tag team turmoil, and they didn't. They lasted through how many teams? 2 teams? They lasted through 2 teams, barely even 7 minutes, and then they were eliminated. They were eliminated by the Creed brothers. So DIY isolated Tozawa and Otis. Tozawa and Otis, they represented Alpha Academy. They won with the meeting in the middle. Out came Indus Viren Sangha tried to wear down Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano quickly rolled up Veer for the win. My God, are Indus useless or are Indus useless? Jesus. So out came the Creed brothers. We get a decent little back and forth between the Creed brothers and DIY. Ultimately, meeting in the middle was stopped. Julius then pressed Johnny Gargano into a powerbomb, and then he hoisted him back up. Him and Brutus delivered the Brutus Ball electric chair drop, and ultimately the Creed brothers advance. DIY should have gone the entire length, and the Creed brothers should have been the final team. Very, 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 very poor decision. So after that, the New Day came in. And the New Day, they went back and forth. They tried to weather the early storm of the Creeds. Julius slammed Kofi, tagged the Woods, tagged the Brutus. Brutus with the big suplexes. We had a moonsault by Brutus and a standing shooting star by Julius. New Day then with the Daybreak. Julius saved the match. Kofi missed Trouble in Paradise. He went for the crossbody. Julius rolled through. He then took out Woods. Moonsault by Brutus. The Brutus Ball again. The Creed brothers advance. And in came Imperium. And we actually got a really nice back and forth with the Creed brothers and Imperium. Imperium looked really good here as well. We had some belly-to-bellies by Julius Creed, one after another. We had a big superplex by Julius on Kaiser. Tagged to Brutus. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." They got themselves over in the end, so they got Nashville to stop sitting on their hands and actually react. We got the Brutus Ball yet again. Brutus Ball, electric chair. And we got a 1-2-3, and the Creed brothers are getting a match with the Judgment Day, which I have absolutely zero issue with whatsoever, because the Creed brothers, they are great at what they do. And the Judgment Day, I mean, they're the best possible candidates for the tag team titles. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they do. This is going to be a great showcase for the Creeds, and it's going to help enhance the Creeds even more so. And the Creed brothers, if they keep up this pace, they're going to be tag team champions by the end of next year. Cody Rhodes, everybody knows good old Cody Rhodes, Mr. Adrenaline in my soul. Entering the Rumble, Cody Rhodes. Oh! Cody Rhodes. Out the curtain lights come up, I'm a bum. Oh! Cody Rhodes. He came out. He thanked every single one of his teammates. He also thanked Orton for giving him the victory. He hyped up the return of CM Punk. He then said that I'd like to make some big news myself. You guys truly know me. There's only one destination for me. Obviously, he's talking about finishing his story. He goes, I will be entering myself, the very first entrant into the 2024 Royal Rumble. All of a sudden, the lights flicker. Shinsuke Nakamura comes up on the TV screen, and Shinsuke Nakamura, he revealed that Cody Rhodes is his next target. Nakamura then comes up from behind Cody Rhodes and sprays him in the face with red mist. Nakamura has chosen Cody Rhodes as his next target, and I actually don't mind this. I actually think that this is a really, really, really good move. It's something different. This is what I wanted. I wanted something different. I don't want the same matches over and over and over again. I want something new. Nakamura and Cody. We haven't seen that. That's something new. Perfect. Perfect. Zero issue with that whatsoever. It's a great move. That is a great overall move. And now we could potentially be looking at Nakamura getting a victory over Cody. And Cody Rhodes, he doesn't need to beat Nakamura. He could lose to Nakamura, he could lose the Royal Rumble, and ultimately, he can win the Chamber. Cody wins the Chamber, Punk wins the Rumble. That's how it should go. But I like it. I like it. I think if you give these two some time, you give these two 15, 20 minutes, they'll put on a banger. Ivar. Ivar's been doing really, really good as a singles guy recently. Ivar and Bronson Reed. Two big guys. It was the meat match. So they went at it. They certainly went at it. They were hitting each other pretty hard. They were throwing each other into the barricade. They were flying off the apron. Moonsault missed. Bronson Reed, he then hit a Death Valley driver to Ivar into the barricade. We then had Ivar pushing Reed over the barricade. And then Ivar then busted Reed right in the back with a steel chair. They brawled into the crowd. Ivar with a cannonball off the production crate onto Reed and security. And it looks like we're going to be getting a Viking rules match between these two. I have no problem there, but I kind of find it a little disheartening that you needed to have the first match end in a double countout, and we didn't even get 50% of what these guys can do. Kind of lame, if you ask me. Kind of lame, if you ask me. I would have given them a lot more time than what they got. Nia Jax and Zoe Stark. Nia Jax and Zoe Stark. I will say this. Nia Jax has not been as bad as I was expecting her to be. She seems to be a lot better in small doses, but in the end, I mean, who cares? Who cares? Nia Jax, regardless of whether or not she hasn't been that bad, she really doesn't offer anything. She doesn't offer anything whatsoever. Zoe Stark, listen, she looked all right here against Jax for a little bit. Couple super kicks. Corkscrew senton on the knee. Nia Jax ultimately got the win with the Annihilator, a.k.a. the Banzai Drop, and that was it. Really nothing of note. Seth Rollins. Seth freaking Rollins. He came out. He addressed the crowd. He said, "Welcome to Monday Night Rollins. I am a visionary. I am a revolutionary. I am Seth freaking Rollins. Listen, Rollins, I think you're great, but I'm the visionary. I'm the revolutionary. Okay? When you talk about visionary and revolutionary, you think of DJ Storms. No one's thinking of you. I like you. You're having the best world title reign of your entire life right now. You really are. You are doing great as the world champion, but I'm the visionary. I'm the revolutionary. I'm DJ effing Storms." So Rollins clearly looked pissed. Crowd was chanting CM Punk. Rollins says that he doesn't want to spend one more ounce of energy on that hypocrite. Obviously, this is a work. It is a clear-cut work, but I would be a betting man, and I would put my money on Seth Rollins legitimately not liking Punk. So he said that he is looking to focus on the championship and how he's made the championship around his waist the most prestigious title in the entire industry. No, you haven't. The most prestigious title in the entire industry is the AEW World Championship, held by one Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Just stop, Rollins, please. Just stop. I understand that you're prideful, but no. No. So Drew McIntyre came out. He talked about what Seth Rollins said to him about how Rollins beating him would be the best thing that would happen to him. Drew said that Rollins was right. Drew said that he showed compassion and he felt sympathy when Rollins didn't deserve it. Drew was slapped by Rollins during that match, and Drew said that I deserved it. I'm going to get that damn rematch, and I will get that championship. Rollins then said, I believe that you deserve a rematch, but there are a few other people that I believe deserve it just a little bit more than you. Next week, I will be defending the World Heavyweight Championship live on Raw. Drew then asked who the match is with. Rollins said, I'm defending the World Championship against Jey Uso. Drew obviously was not happy. He then hit Rollins with a Glasgow kiss. He attacked Rollins before the Yeet Man, Jey Uso, came out. Double super kick by Jey and Rollins. And ultimately, we saw Jey pick up the world title and hand it back to Rollins. Obviously, this is all leading towards the match next week, which I'm very much looking forward to. I think that if you give those two some time, I think those two, they're going to put on one hell of a match. I've been liking what Jey Uso's doing. Jey Uso's a very good singles wrestler. We all know how good Seth Rollins is. So if anything, this is just going to be another great match tacked on to the long list of great matches that Seth Rollins has accumulated throughout this World Championship title reign. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Tegan Nox and Natalya versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. This was a match in which they tried to make it seem like the WWE Women's Tag Team titles had any prestige, when in reality they don't. I am not going to sit here and say that the match was bad. It wasn't a bad match. It was actually a pretty decent match. I will give credit where credit's due to all four women. The four women in this match, they worked hard. They worked hard. They were fairly smooth together. The moves were fluid. Everything seemed to go off without a hitch, but nobody cared. Nobody cared. And it's not because that these women aren't great. It's because the women's division has just been so poorly booked. I really don't think people understand how bad the damage Vince McMahon caused really was and still is right now. Vince McMahon and the damage that he caused to the WWE is going to be felt for decades, generations to come. It's going to take a long, long time for Triple H to rejuvenate that trust within his audience. Really is. But the match itself wasn't bad. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a bad match. It wasn't a bad match. Match was okay. The match ultimately resulted in a crossbody by Niven onto Nox, and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven retained the Women's Tag Team Championships. I was actually happy about this because the duo that should be beating them for the Women's Tag Team titles should be Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. They have deserved that for a long, long time. Next week on Raw, it's Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, World Heavyweight Championship. Randy Orton, he had his first match back on Raw in a year and a half. He took on Dominic Mysterio. Not to say it was a bad match. Again, this was part of the lackluster nature of Raw. It wasn't a bad match, but it was as basic as you could get. Not bad, but basic. Ultimately, JD in a neck brace. JD thinks he's Roderick Strong. All we're missing is JD McDonough calling out someone's name very, very loud. He should start calling out Rhea Ripley's name loud. Rhea! Adam! Maybe I'll start doing that with JV Thunder. I think Roderick Strong is going to make me start a trend with JV Thunder. I'm just going to start saying Thunder's name. Thunder! That'd be great. Randy Orton wins. RKO. That was pretty much that. I'm assuming that this is going to result in probably a match with Damian Priest, a match with Balor. I'm not really sure how they're going to go about this. That was that. And at this rate, many people were saying, my God, CM Punk saved the show. Not even Punk could save the show. We're going to go over what CM Punk said, and we're going to go over why the promo absolutely sucked. CM Punk, he came out to address the crowd. Big pop. Look in my eyes, what do you see? A cult of personality. It's one of my favorite songs ever. I love Cult of Personality. That's my number 5 most favorite song ever. It's in my top 5. Excellent song, Cult of Personality. Crowd was chanting CM Punk. And he goes, looks like hell froze over. This is me standing in a WWE ring with a live microphone. Lately, I've been feeling a bit more like myself. I would like to explain how I feel. It's going to sound corny, but I've changed. This is the truth. I'm home, said Punk. Crowd chanted, welcome back, welcome back. He goes, I didn't know how this was going to go, but this is where I belong. You people never forgot me. You are all powerful. The people watching at home and in this building never stopped chanting my name. I am back because I love you guys. Once upon a time, a wise man, Paul Heyman, told me that for me to get everything I needed from this place, I needed to leave and come back. Saturday night was a monumental moment, an amazing moment, said Punk. It's been nothing but love. And by the way, he said, by the way, AJ is fabulous and she sends her regards. Everyone has welcomed me back with open arms. Well, almost everyone. Some people are afraid of the truth. People are afraid that the most dangerous man in the industry walked through the front door and there is nothing that they can do. They have to come to terms with the fact that their best isn't good enough because the best in the world is here live and in living color, and his name is... He put the mic to the crowd, and the crowd chanted CM Punk. Afterwards, his music went off. Punk then said into the camera, off the microphone, he goes, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money. And that was the way that the show went off the air. This was a disappointment. Major disappointment. WWE never follows up the way that they need to follow up. They had perhaps one of, if not the biggest moment in the history of their company in the last decade. The biggest moment in their company since The Undertaker's streak ending. Since Bryan Danielson became the world champion at WrestleMania 30. How many years since we've had a moment as monumental as Punk coming back? A decade. Solid decade. And what happened? What happened? Nothing. Absolutely nothing of note. Listen, I am not saying that CM Punk needs to go out there and be dropping pipe bomb after pipe bomb on night one. I'm not saying that CM Punk needs to go out there and start trashing AEW and start bashing the Young Bucks and ripping apart Tony Khan. Realistically speaking, he has no leg to stand on. He doesn't have any place to be ripping apart AEW because AEW gave him the world. They gave him a multi-million-dollar contract. They gave him the world championship. They gave him his own show. What does CM Punk really have to complain about with AEW? Nothing. They gave him the world, and CM Punk threw it away because of his own ego. CM Punk, let me tell you something. CM Punk ultimately screwed himself over in AEW. Not entirely his fault, but he ultimately screwed himself over in AEW because he is way too emotional. He's way too emotional. He lets his feelings get in the way of business. He just can't be trusted. And you know what, to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't have been surprised if Triple H and Nick Khan actually scripted CM Punk. I would not be surprised if they scripted CM Punk. I believe that there's a behavioral clause in his contract. Would not shock me in the slightest. I'm not saying that he needs to go out there and start calling the Young Bucks children or say Cry Me a River and bash Jack Perry, but what exactly did he say? Oh my God, I love all you guys. I love all you guys. I'm home. I'm back. That's it. He gave us no explanation as to what his intentions are. No explanation as to what his intentions are. No explanation as to who he wants to face, what he wants to do, what unfinished business he has. Nothing. He didn't give us anything. He did not even give us a tease into what the future could look like for him in the WWE. Seth Rollins gave us something to sink our teeth into when he called CM Punk a hypocrite. We already know that that's going to be the main event for WrestleMania Night 1. Rollins gave us something to sink our teeth into more so than Punk. I don't get it. I am not saying that CM Punk needs to go out there and trash Tony Khan, call him unprofessional, call AEW the minor leagues, because AEW gave him the world at the end of the day. Again, the multi-million-dollar contract, the world title, his own show. He blew it because of his own ego. He blew it because he's too emotional to keep his feelings in check. But he did not tell us who he wants to face. He did not name drop any new talent that he wants to fight in the ring. He did not mention anything about a WrestleMania main event. He didn't declare himself for the Royal Rumble. He didn't declare himself for the Elimination Chamber. It was legitimate PG Punk. And then he ends with, oh, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. After you were just telling everyone that you love them. I am not saying that you need to unveil all your cards on night one, but CM Punk legitimately gave us nothing. It was tame, it was lame, and it was generic. And it really makes me wonder, really makes me think about the promo that MJF cut on CM Punk all the way back in 2021. I remember the first ever promo between CM Punk and MJF in Chicago on Thanksgiving Eve 2021. I remember it like it was yesterday. MJF came out of the woodworks and called CM Punk PG Punk. He called him PG Punk, says that you may as well start preaching hustle, loyalty, and respect. If anything, I would not be surprised if that is the CM Punk that we're going to get with the WWE. Ultimately, we could get some pipe bombs. We're going to get some zingers. Trust me, we're going to get some zingers with Seth Rollins and Punk. We're going to get some zingers with Roman Reigns and Punk. But if anything, what this promo did, it proved two things. Number one, no matter who you are, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you've done, it doesn't matter what kind of value that you accumulated for yourself, WWE, if they get a hand on you, they will always water you down. Even CM Punk. Even CM Punk was watered down because of WWE. Whether you want to admit it or not, that's it. Whether you want to admit it or not, CM Punk was watered down. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And then the second thing, no matter who is in charge, no matter who it may be, whether it be Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, whatever, no matter who is in charge, at the end of the day, the WWE is, was, and forever will be a lazy company. They're lazy. They're lazy. They don't care. They never cared. They have your money. They have your money. They're going to bait you in. They're going to BS you. And they're going to ultimately give you table scraps when you expected a full course meal. Ultimately, what you're going to get, it's almost like if you're going to a 5-star restaurant and you're expecting a nice steak dinner, right? Expecting a nice steak dinner. You go to a 5-star restaurant and you're expecting a piece of meat that's about half the size of the plate that it's being served on. Meanwhile, then you get it. That's like barely a little slab that's as big as your thumb. Not even your thumb, your pinky. Barely a slab of meat that's as big as your thumb. That's what WWE did. It's exactly what they did. Disappointment. Dynamite, on the other hand, Dynamite was not a disappointment. Dynamite was not a disappointment. Dynamite was actually a very good show. One thing that I will say about AEW TV is the fact that they've definitely been a lot more focused, and part of that is because now they are building towards at least one pay-per-view a month. And I very much appreciate that because that gives the shows a bit more of a sense of urgency. So I have no problem with the fact that they're doing more pay-per-views. Bryan Danielson, he came out and he was on commentary for the entire show talking about the Continental Classic. Continental Classic, Gold League match on the show. First match on the show was Jon Moxley, Jay Lethal. This was actually a very nice change of pace. A really, really, really nice change of pace for the Gold League. Lethal and Moxley, they told a very nice story with Lethal working on the leg of Moxley. Moxley hurt his leg when he went for a suicide dive. So Lethal kept the pressure on Moxley. Diving elbow drop and the figure four and dragon screws. Very nicely done. Moxley then came back with a lariat and a paradigm shift. Lethal then was hit with a stuffed pile driver. Lethal kicked out. Moxley with the rear naked choke, and this was great. So Moxley had the rear naked choke locked in. Jay Lethal was trying to punch at Moxley's injured leg. Moxley then used the leg to hook the arm, so that way Jay Lethal could not hit it anymore. And Jay Lethal had to tap out. Jon Moxley is up 6 points. Jon Moxley, he is going to be the guy to beat in the Continental Classic, although my pick is Swerve Strickland. Tony Schiavone, he was with Sting and Ric Flair, and he made the announcement that Sting's final match will be in the Greensboro Coliseum in North Carolina on March 3rd. He interviewed Sting and Flair, talked about the 45-minute match against Flair, did Sting, and how Ric Flair put him on the map. Ric Flair then said, "I didn't make him, Sting made himself." He said that it is an honor and how it will be one of the greatest moments of his life to stand side by side with Sting as he competes in his final match. Courtney McCarran, thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate you. Go and like the stream over on my YouTube channel and be sure to share it out, because once we talk about Dynamite, we're getting on out of here. But thank you very much for the support. I greatly appreciate you. You are awesome. Mark Briscoe and Roosh. This was excellent. Excellent match right here between Mark Briscoe and Roosh. They absolutely destroyed each other in this match. They were going at it right after the gate, and they were hitting hard. Punches and chops. Very stiff strikes. Very, very, very stiff strikes. We had a wrecking ball drop kick by Mark Briscoe and a diving elbow drop off the apron. Mark Briscoe and Roosh were on the apron, and Roosh with an overhead belly-to-belly throw. Mark Briscoe went sailing off the apron and hit his back right on the concrete. That was rough. Coming back from commercial, Roosh with a snap German suplex and a super kick. Briscoe with a big lariat. Briscoe, big exploder. Briscoe then was caught with a belly-to-belly into the corner. Mark Briscoe, he got up and delivered a spear to Roosh. Roosh kicked out. Mark Briscoe with a neck breaker and an enziguri. Both men were on the apron again. Another belly-to-belly overhead throw off the apron. The crowd was chanting, "Holy shit." The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." We had a big froggy bow by Mark Briscoe. Roosh kicked out. I was actually shocked he kicked out. I thought that was it. Roosh then with another belly-to-belly overhead throw into the corner, a big forearm, and then he delivered the bull's horns, the running drop kick, right on the money. And Roosh, surprisingly, I was not expecting this. I actually had Mark Briscoe getting the win here. Roosh surprisingly gets the victory, and Roosh gets 3 points in the Continental Classic. Great match. Really shocking outcome. I was not expecting this, but we ended up seeing Roosh get 3 points. So, Roosh, I'm glad that he was able to get himself a win. MJF, he came out to address the crowd. He came out with his walker, and he came out and he was talking about his match with Samoa Joe at World's End. He says that although he doesn't like Samoa Joe, he respects Samoa Joe. He said that he got a poster in the mail one day for a little company called TNA Wrestling. And he said that one guy stuck out to him amongst everyone else, and that guy's name was Samoa Joe. He didn't care if he was controversial, because every single time that he walked out, he knew that he was the baddest man on the planet, said MJF. MJF, he then talked about how Samoa Joe, he was not afforded the opportunity to be a world champion in the WWE because WWE, they shafted him. And he is correct. WWE absolutely shafted Samoa Joseph. But he goes, he proved that alternatives matter. Alternatives matter, and without him, there would be no AEW. Hell, there would be no MJF. He then goes, however, I'm not too shabby myself now, aren't I? Said MJF. MJF then said that he helped build a new alternative, which he did. He helped build a new alternative, and the first time around, I was lucky to survive Joe. I have beaten some of the biggest and the baddest in AEW, but I was lucky to survive Joe. On December 30th, it's not about your legacy, Joe. It's about mine. And it's Samoa Joe, one last time, I need to outlast him. Joe, on December 30th, I promise I am going to show the world it's about the size of the fight in the dog. Telling you, man. MJF, he knows how to cut a promo. Really, really, really passionate. He goes, you're going to have to put me down in order to take the championship from me. All of a sudden, the lights go out. And we see the masked men, the devil's minions, attack MJF. Joe came out and he ran them off. All of a sudden, words came up on the screen pretty much challenging MJF to a tag team match against a team called The Unknown. MJF then said that he's sick and tired of these games. He goes, I'm going to take you out one by one and unmask you. So you want a tag team match? You're on. Samoa Joe wasn't too happy because he wants MJF at 100%. So it's certainly going to be interesting how they play it off next week. And we got ourselves a very nice story heading into AEW Worlds End. Wardlow, he took on AR Fox. This was a decent little sprint, but ultimately forgettable. AR Fox, he was trying to use his quickness against Wardlow. Tope con Heroes and Tope Suicidas, 450s. Wardlow actually kicked out at 1. Wardlow was just absorbing AR Fox's strikes. Wardlow with a big elbow, 2 power bombs. He then went up to the top, a beautiful swanton bomb. Wardlow then with a 3rd power bomb, and it was a last ride power bomb right on the money, and the referee had to stop the match. This should have been saved for Rampage. Listen, I'm all for a good little squash match, but if anything, you should have saved this match for Rampage, and you should have given these guys an extra 8 more minutes. If you would have given these guys an extra 8 more minutes, you could have put on a great match as opposed to just barely a blip on the show. Should have been saved for Friday. The Hardys and Brother Zay, they took on Action Andretti and Top Flight. Dante Martin is back and better than ever. And Dante Martin, after suffering that brutal ankle injury, Dante Martin, he looked great. He looked like he was never even injured. He looked back and better than ever. This was a fun little match, and Dante Martin ended up getting the win with a half Nelson slam. It looked like a half Nelson into a spin-out slam, almost like a half Nelson into a side effect, which looked very, very nice. And Dante Martin ends up getting the win for his trio. If they can stay healthy, if Top Flight can stay healthy and Action Andretti can stay with them, I'm telling you, these guys, I would love to see these guys in the trios division, whether it be for the Ring of Honor World 6-Man Tag Team Championships or the AEW World Trios Championships. I'd love to see that. Julia Hart, she took on Emi Sakura. This is a TBS Championship Open Challenge. Really nothing more than a standard showcase match. This is what I don't like. I don't really understand why, after Julia Hart's big victory at AEW Full Gear, when she won the TBS Championship, why are you giving her showcase matches? Why are you not giving her something to build on her momentum? You take a look at Chris Statlander. Did Chris Statlander ever have any showcase matches as TBS champion? Every match that she had seemingly was a competitive showcase, rather than just, oh, Julia Hart gets her stuff in and that's it, the match is over. You take a look at the matches that Chris Statlander put on with Taya Valkyrie, Britt Baker, Ruby Soho, Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue. They all were competitive, and they made the TBS championship feel important. I'm not getting that vibe from Julia Hart. I understand that she's young, really. I understand that she's young and all that, but give her something of substance. Give her something of substance rather than showcase matches. Was it bad? No. It wasn't bad, but there was really nothing to sink our teeth into with Julia Hart. I understand that it's only 2 weeks as TBS champion, but I would like a little bit more importance. Please. Christian Cage. This was one of the best things on the show right here. Christian Cage came out with security. He invited Adam Copeland to the ring. The crowd was yelling, Adam! Adam! So Christian Cage was waiting. He was getting a little impatient. Adam Copeland came out. Christian said that management wanted this security with him. Cage then asked the security to leave. He said he talked about the challenge that was laid out to him. Cage says, we're not going to make it to Montreal because I'm sorry. He said, I'm sorry. Christian Cage then talked about all of the things that Adam Copeland talked about. He goes, I have done a lot of self-reflection. I have been on an island unto myself. Some people may only say that I'm saying this because I'm on an island unto myself. The crowd was chanting bullshit. All of a sudden, Christian, he said that he was pissed off, but he needed to think. So I went driving, and my road trip turned into a road trip of soul searching, of self-reflection. And my drive reminded me of the times that we took your mom's car out and drove around. We didn't care. We were going to make it. And damn it, we did make it, said Christian. We become multi-time tag team champions and multi-time world champions, but our relationship runs deeper. You grew up with a single mother. You didn't have a father. So obviously, we all knew where this was going, but Christian Cage goes, wait, hold on. Yes, I'm the patriarch of AEW, but in no way, shape, or form am I suggesting that I'm your father. Adam, I'm not your father, I'm your brother. And when we became best friends, your father became my father, said Christian. He then goes, when we went on family trips, he became your biggest fan. I love you, man, said Christian. We are family. And I remember your mother, before she passed away, she said, what I would give to see you two team together just one last time. So let's do it, man. Let's team together one last time. Let's do it for Judy. Let's do it for the Jude Meister. Let's do it for her. Christian, then, out of nowhere, he went to hit Adam Copeland with the TNT Championship. Copeland with a low blow. He took the mic and he goes, yeah, nice try, dumbass. I want you to hold that title tightly. Sleep with it if you want, because next week she's coming home with me. And then Christian Cage was just sitting there, just in pain from the low blow. And then Edge comes back. Adam Copeland comes back and he goes, oh, wait, I almost forgot. Go fuck yourself. And it wasn't censored either. That wasn't censored. So it looks like Mike Mansory, he missed that. He definitely missed that. This was awesome. Excellent. Absolutely beautiful. Nothing but pure, raw story. I'm loving it. And I see Christian Cage getting that win next week. Christian Cage is going to get the victory. And I'm going to love it. Christian Cage is absolutely beating Adam Copeland next week in Montreal. Swerve Strickland and Jay White. This was the final Gold League Continental Classic match. And Prince Nana out there on a crutch, and he's doing the swerve dance. It's a great thing. It's a great thing to see. This was excellent. This was an excellent main event. Very, very, very good stuff. Really good near falls. We had Swerve Strickland with a flatliner and a sheer drop brainbuster for a 2. Big discus lariat. Both men are down. Both men are down. We had a Uranagi by Jay White. Uranagi, that got a 2. Swerve took the arm, snapped it back, which looked absolutely brutal. Swerve then with the house call and the Swerve stomp. White kicked out. Excellent near fall. White out of nowhere with a Blade Runner. But Swerve rolled out of the ring. Jay couldn't take advantage. Both men then traded chops. Swerve reversed a second Blade Runner, rolled up Jay White. 1, 2, 3. Swerve Strickland gets the win as he should. And now he is up 6 points in the Continental Classic. I am very, very, very pleased to see Swerve Strickland getting that victory. I'm very, very pleased to see Swerve Strickland tied with Moxley. I mean, there's no better candidate to win this than Swerve. Swerve needs to win. If I'm booking this, Swerve Strickland is winning the Continental Classic, hands down. And Swerve Strickland should very well take the title off of MJF at Revolution if MJF can make it to Revolution with the title. And that was Dynamite, people. That was Dynamite. Thank you all for stopping on by. You guys have been awesome. As per usual, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. We are getting set and ready for December. Tomorrow is December. We got 25 days till Christmas. I'm going to be chilling. I'm going to be enjoying my time, watching Christmas movies, getting into the Christmas spirit, if you will. Maybe I'll watch The Year Without a Santa Claus. I love The Year Without a Santa Claus. But thank you all for stopping on by. Thank you all for the support, both on the DJ Storms brand and on PWP Nation. I hope you all enjoyed my final stream as a member of PWP Nation. Until next time, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. But before we get out of here, remember, people, there is only one man and one man only that runs the IWC. And it is who? But DJ Storms. And don't you ever, ever, ever forget it. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.